Hello dear students, welcome to the another video tutorial of parasitology. In that we have started chapter 5, that is the life cycle, pathogenicity and control measures of the parasite. In that chapter, in last sessions, we have taken into the three parts, that is the we have finished with the Plasmodium vivax, that is the malarial parasite, and in this particular lecture, in fifth lecture, we are going to convey particular four type of the parasite, that are the Plasmodium vivax, which we have already taken, and today we are going to take Entamoeba histolytica in the part first, as well as after that we are going to start with the Ascaris lumbricoides and at last with the Taenia solium. Okay, so let's begin with the Entamoeba histolytica. Okay, so the historical background of Entamoeba histolytica, that the how that word is coined for these uh, Entamoeba histolytica. Okay, so the Entamoeba histolytica was first of all reported by a Russian zoologist named as the Losh in 1875 as amoeba coli from the feces of patient which is suffering from the dysentery. Okay, so at very first in this world, so Losh examined by means of the a patient that was suffering from the dysentery, and it has estimated that is the something a protozoan species named as the Entamoeba histolytica. Okay, so after that the genus Entamoeba was established by two zoologists, that is the uh, Cossagendi as well as the Barbatagallo in the year 1895. Okay, so it should not be confused with the genus Entamoeba with the Entamoeba. Okay, so these are the two separate genuses. Okay, so which was established by Liddy in 1879, as well as after that um, Konisman and the Lofio in the 1901 work on these particular species of Entamoeba, and they given as a given its pathogenicity as well as the amoebasis and amoebic ulcers. Okay, so they found out with these particular um, diseases carried out by means of these Entamoeba species. Okay, so the species Entamoeba histolytica was established by Shordim. Okay, so in 1903, and he differentiate the pathogenic as well as non-pathogenic types, that are the two types by means of these Entamoeba histolytica. And after that Walker and Sellards in 1930, they created attributing pathogenic effect of this particular parasite. Okay, so with after that one particular zoologist named as the Craig in 1962, he has estimated that more than 10% of the world population is suffering from the infection of this particular parasite. So as you know that these a particular almost near 100 years of history to known to us. Okay, so in this particular 100 years, suppose in like the 1975 to 1962, almost 100 years. Okay, so in these 90 years, these particular species is grown up, and its evidences of this particular species is come forward to us by means of this particular scientist. Okay, so the systematic positions of the Entamoeba histolytica are with the it refers the phylum Protozoa, it is from the class Rhizopodia, and subclass Lobosea, order Amoebidae, and genus Entamoeba, and species known as the Histolytica. Okay, so there are the two genuses, Entamoeba as well as Endamoeba. Okay, so don't confuse with these two types of these genuses. Okay, so let's start with these geographic distribution of Entamoeba histolytica. So Entamoeba histolytica is worldwide spread, that is the it is cosmopolitan in nature, and it is distributed all over the world. Okay, so but it is commonly found in epidemic form in the tropical and the subtropical regions of the world. Then it is also formed with the some temperate regions, as well as the majority of these disease, that disease is coined as a term named as the amoebiasis, causes occur in the developing countries. Okay, so main causes these Entamoeba histolytica due to the unhygienic conditions is caused into the developing countries. So that's why in our India, Pakistan, or the some Asian countries like Bangladesh, these are the growing countries, as well as some countries in the uh, East Africa, South Africa, as well as some countries from the South America, is also suffering by means of this disease known as the amoebiasis. Okay, so in industrialized countries, like risk groups includes men who have travels recent immigrants, that is the immunocompromised persons. Okay, that is means the some persons which are suffering by means of these STDs, that are the sexually transmitted diseases, and they are immunocompromised persons. Okay, that immunocompromised persons are institutionalized, and these populations of these Entamoeba histolytica is getting chance to get invaded by means of these particular risks, and they having these immunocompromised population having the risk of get dying by means of these infections also. So while the large majority of the infected asymptomatic invasion amoebiasis causes disabling illness in the estimated, that is the 50 million persons in the all over world, and there are almost 50,000 deaths uh, per annum, that is the annually in the world. Okay, so 50 million were get infested, and 50,000 annually approximately going to die by means of this particular infection. So mostly in the tropical belt of Asia, Africa, and Latin America, there are most causes of death. Okay, so it is the third leading parasitic cause. Okay, so this amoebiasis is the third leading parasitic cause of mortality. That is, mortality means the death rate. Okay, so after malaria and the schistosomiasis, malaria we have seen that is the uh, death rate is comparatively high than this um, uh, schistosomiasis and the um, that parasitic cause named as the amoebiasis. Okay, so the habit and the habitat of the Xanthamoeba histolytica. So habit means uh, their it is habitual to perform their day-to-day life functions in particular type of the environment, that will be its habitat. Okay, so the Entamoeba histolytica is a microscopic. Okay, so and it lives as an endoparasite in the upper part of the large intestine, and that upper part of the large intestine named as the colon of humans. Okay, so inhabits so inhabits the mucus and submucous layers of the large intestine. So it feeds mainly on the tissues of the intestinal wall, and after produces severe ulcers and the abscesses. Okay, so abscesses means pus and the ulcers means the illusion or the erosion of the intestine by means of these particular infections or the invasions of these particular parasite into the our gut, so that the some lesions are developed into the our gut, that is the colon, and that lesions are after all called as the ulcers. Okay, so the chronic, in the chronic cases, so chronic cases means the migration of these particular entamoeba histolytica from the colon to the brain, colon to the our spleen, colon to the external its migrations, so that are referred as the chronic cases. So it may enter the blood circulation to reach the liver, lung, brain, or the other organs of the body, so that was referred as the chronic cases. So it causes serious and often a fatal disease known as the amoebic dysentery or the amoebiasis. Okay, so as it resides into the colon and feeding on the gut cells or feeding on the RBCs, so that these some chronic diseases it or these cause serious often infections or the fatal diseases by means of these entamoeba histolytica or the dysentery, or it is referred as the amoebiasis in a scientific term. Okay, so the entamoeba histolytica has also been reported so from these variety of mammals. Okay, so it is not reported only in the humans, as well as it reported in the gorilla, orangutan, chimpanzee, uh, gibbon, or baboon. These are the various species of monkeys, as well as some mammals like dog, cat, pig, and rat also. So these are the very, and these entamoeba genus having various species. Okay, so that and it is only we are focusing on the histolytica, that is the species which resides in the colon of a human. Okay, so the morphology of entamoeba histolytica exists in two distinct forms, that are the tropozoite or the second known as the precystic form. Okay, so what is mean by the tropozoite form? As we having the idea that are the what are the tropozoite, we have seen in the malarial parasite that are the various different stages of the malarial parasite. In that we have seen the tropozoite form of the malarial parasite. Likewise, these are the tropozoite form of these particular entamoeba. So the mature parasite, so let's start with the mature to immature form. Okay, so the very immature form is the tropozoite. Okay, so we are going to from as a descending order. Okay, so the tropozoite is the mature form of the entamoeba histolytica. So in tropozoite, the mature parasite or the active and the motile adults is known as the tropozoites, as we all know. So the tropozoites of entamoeba histolytica are large, hence called as the mega. Okay, so it is firstly referred or the firstly discovered in the Russian, so that these names are given. Okay, so it is referred clinically or the medical terminologies, so that it's called also called as the mega. Usually it is the 20 to 30 micron in diameter. So entamoeba histolytica tropozoite, it is feeding from which of the pathogenic to man. Okay, so it having the pseudopodia, may be short and broad rounded in their structures, long and finger like projections, mainly composed of the ectoplasm. So these ectoplasm of these propozoids uh, are having the motile function named as the pseudopodia. So during locomotion, this rapidly advancing end of this body consists of the single clear pseudopodia, and that single clear pseudopodia referred as the monopodia. Okay, and with this single pseudopodium, it is move and crowd with these fashion like garden slug. Okay, so how that garden slug is locomoting, likewise this entamoeba is locomoting into the gut by means of this pseudopodium. Okay, so the movement is also sometimes called as the Limax type movement. Okay, Limax is the one type of the slug. Okay, so the endoplasm of this propozoid contain the nucleus and food vacuoles containing the tissue fragments which have it engulf erythrocytes, leukocytes, and ingested bacteria in the gut. Okay, so the nucleus is round and 4 to 6 microns in the diameter, and it is the vesicular in nature. So the nucleus is composed of a delicate membrane like the it having the small peripheral chromatin granules is seen, and cen- centrally centrally located small dot like nucleus or endosome or karyosome are also seen, and some chromatin granules are arranged in the spoke like striations. Okay, so these it is a complete functional single cellular animal, so that these all its compositions of that single cell animals are seen in these particular entamoeba histolytica. So the nucleus is surrounded by an indefinite clear area called as the halo. Okay, so if we referred as the halo nucleus, okay, so the halo nucleus or the halo nucleus or hollow nucleus is that means it having or it surrounds by a indefinite clear area. Okay, so the presence of red blood corpuscles that are referred as the RBCs, and it flowed vacuoles in an important characteristics features of this parasite. So as the capacity of ingesting these RBCs is not seen in other intestinal amoebae of man. Okay, so it is only seen in these intestinal amoebae of humans that it can ingest these RBCs and feed directly feed upon the RBCs. Okay, so the contractile vacuoles is entirely absent because these entamoeba histolytica lives in an environment which is isotonic in nature. So as you all know, the uh, environment that are the isotonic uh, as well as hollow, as well as its three different parts of the environments. Okay, so the since this osmotic concentration of its body remains equal to its surrounding, okay, and hence no water enters in its body. So what do you mean by the isotonic solutions are the concentration of ions is almost same in the both side. It is divided by means of the plasma membrane. Okay, so if the concentration of the solutes or the ions are uh, almost equal into the both sides, what happen that no any particle is going to pass the plasma membrane, so that this isotonic nature is helping with this osmotic concentration of the body of these entamoeba, that this it remains equal to its surrounding, and hence no water enters in its body by osmosis. Okay, so that it can maintain its shape. Okay, and therefore there is no need of contractile vacuole in it. Okay, so this is the tropozoite stage, which is almost um, like it having the pseudopodium, which is outer pellicle of this particular entamoeba. Okay, you can see the ectoplasm. You can see in the nucleus, that is the WBC, which are engulf endoplasm. You can see the karyosome, which is centrally placed. Okay, the peripheral chromatin granule, which is fine in nature. You can see the RBCs, which have engulfed by means of this tropozoite stage, which is adult stage of this Entamoeba histolytica, and the various food vacuoles to store energy. Okay, or to store the uh, energy to utilize in the um, starving conditions. Okay, so these are the second stage is the pre-cystic stage. Okay, in this pre-cystic stage, the tropozoic form of the Entamoeba histolytica develops from a small minuta, so hence known as the minuta form. Okay, so it is the 10 to the 20 micron into the diameter, and it enters into the mucosa and submucosa layers of this intestinal wall by means, and it dissolving its tissues. So thus it makes small wounds into the intestinal lining, which layer develop into the ulcers. So okay, so I have explained in last point, that is the it develops the some lesions, or it also known as the wounds. Okay, so it is clinically or medically referred as the ulcers. Okay, after reaching into the intestinal tissues, and it can ingest the RBC and grow up to the 60 micron in its size. Okay, so this pre-cystic stage is going to convert uh, after this stage into the tropozoite stage. Okay, after the pre-cystic stage, that are the very first stage, that are the cystic stage. Okay, we are taking this part as a um, not in the ascending order, by we are taking into the descending order. So the first stage will be the cystic stage, after that the pre-cystic stage, uh, uh, and the tropozoite stage. Okay, so in the cystic stage, or the second stage, during these encystments, okay, these parasite becomes spherical, okay, smaller and sluggish in nature, and it's surrounded by highly ret- retractile membrane called as the cyst wall. So that sluggish wall is covered by means of these particular type of these uh, tropozoites, or also known as the cyst. Okay, so that cyst is covered by means of these wall known as the cyst wall. Okay, so the mature cyst is the quadranucleate spherical body. Quadranucleate means it having the four nucleus. So it cytoplasm is clear, hyaline in nature, and nuclear structure is retaining the characters of the tropocytes. Okay, so the cyst varies in size, as a small cyst is with the 6 to 9 micron in the diameter, as well as the large cyst are up to the 12 to the 15 micron into the diameter. So in the beginning, this cyst is uninucleated. Okay, that means it having only a single nucleus. After that, these bodies but soon divided into the binary fission by means of binary fission, and then that it going to convert that one mother cell to the two daughter cell. Okay, hence they are developing with these uninucleated body to quadranucleate bodies. Okay, so having these converted into binucleate, and after that that binucleate body is converted into the quadranucleate bodies. Okay, so the cytoplasm of these cysts showing chromatid bars, and chromatid bars are nothing but the genetic materials of these particular stage of these particular um, entamoeba. Okay, so that showing the chromatic bars which are from 1 to the 4 in number, that maybe varies to 1 to the 4 in number, and these bars appears black when they are stained with the iron hematoxylin. Okay, so the iron hematoxylin is used to stain the various developmental stages of the entamoeba histolytica, and that genetic material is appears black in color. Okay, so the immature cyst pass in the feces. Okay, and they may pass into this feces and complete their developmental stages outside the um, human human body or that host body. Okay, so that they are developing into the water. If we ingest that infested water by means of these cyst, we can suffer from the chronic diseases as well as the amoebic diseases known as the dysentery. Okay, so this is the cystic stages. You can see in the very first picture, that is the uninucleated cyst. After that, the it divided by means of the binary fission, and it before dividing it is binucleated cyst, and after that it is the converted into the quadranucleated cyst. Okay, so the nutrition of Entamoeba histolytica, how that Entamoeba histolytica is going to complete their or the fulfill their its own hunger. Okay, so how that nutrition is provided to the Entamoeba histolytica. So in Entamoeba histolytica, the nutrition is holozoic in nature, so it feeds mainly upon the blood corpuscles and other host elements of bacteria and yeasts. Okay, it also absorbs the substances sporozoochily, okay, from the surrounding of the medium. So what will be the medium of this particular Entamoeba histolytica will be the our large intestine or the duodenum. Okay, so in that its surrounding or this medium of these Entamoeba histolytica, if it appears any bacteria or any gut healthy bacteria from our gut, okay, it feed upon them. Okay, so it if we eat some milk processed items which having suppose curd having the good bacteria for our health or for our gut nutrition. Okay, so that good bacteria are eaten by means of the these Entamoeba histolytica. If we get touch with these of we get infested by means of this Entamoeba histolytica, as well as some bacteria are present in our gut that are also eaten by means of these Entamoeba histolytica, as well as the blood corpuscles known as the uh, RBCs are also eaten by means of this, or eaten means engulfed by means of this Entamoeba histolytica. Okay, so it fulfill its nutrition by means of these absorbing substances sporozically from the surrounding of medium. Okay, so as you can see in this particular picture, that is the you can see the tropozoite stage. Okay, you can see the pseudopodia or the pseudopod, that is the um, it can move by means of this pseudopodium. Okay, you can see the endosome, that is the nucleus. Okay, or you can see this particular tropozoite stage, that is the feeding vacuole filled with the RBC. Okay, that is engulf it has engulfed these RBCs, and that filled in these particular vacuoles, and digestion process is in work in this particular type of the vacuoles. Okay, and it get digested and its nutrition of this entamoeba histolytica get fulfilled. Okay, you can see the cyst stage as well as the nucleus of these cyst. Okay, that are also referred as the endosome. Okay, so the binary fission in entamoeba. So you can see these cytoplasm and nucleus and mother body of entamoeba. It get divided, it get clumped. Okay, and it get divided into the two separate daughter cells. Okay, after the binary fission. Okay, so methods of reproduction, as we have seen, the entamoeba histolytica shows only asexual reproduction, and it occurs in two ways, that are the binary fission and multiple fission. Okay, so we have seen these binary fission, that one mother cell is get divided into the two daughter cells by means of the asexual reproduction, or the bifurcation of this one cell into the two daughter cell. Okay, so in the reproduction, following methods occur, that are, the first is the excitation. That excitation occurs in the small intestine with the release of motile tropozoites. Okay, and which migrate to the large intestine. Okay, so the into the small intestine, while completing its life cycle into the gut of a human, these entamoeba histolytica going to show these three type of the stages. That is, the first is the excitation, then incitation, in insistation, and multiplication. That is the last stage, the multiplicative stage. Okay, so in the insistation, that will be the second stage, it definitions the process by which amoebae lose their characteristics. Okay, lose pseudopodial movement. Okay, and after that losing pseudopodial movement, it get endowed with the protective and impenetrable wall. This impenetrable wall is called as the insistation. Okay, that impenetrable covering is occurred on these particular stages. Okay, this insistation stage is providing the extra protection to this parasite. Okay, so that the it cannot be pierced, or it cannot be invaded by means of the various type of the uh, food particles, or the various gut parasites. Okay, so the resulting around the bodies are called as a cyst. Okay, that after that it referred as a cyst, and these cysts are immotile. It cannot move, or it cannot locomote it by means of its own. Okay, so and remain metabolically inert. That is, metabolically uh, it is not active. Okay, the metabolism is going to slow down. Okay, so as long as these conditions are unfavorable for these hatching. Okay, after that uh, these particular protective layers, or these protective covering, or these impenetrable wall is going to um, harden that surface of these particular cyst. Okay, and these particular cysts are the are not going to hatch, or they are conveying that they are considering that these unfavorable condition for the hatching time. Okay, and last stage in the methods of the reproduction, that will be the multiplicative stage, or the known as the multiplication. So this stage occurs only in the trophozoite phase. Okay, in the mature phase. That will be the first stage what we have seen, that will be the trophozoite stage, and up in that stage this multiplication stage will be activated, and this phase will be multiplied by means of the simple method known as the binary fission. Okay, so as you can see in this picture, that is the three stages are shown, that are the excitation, incitation as well as the invasion. Okay, so you can see at your right hand side that will be the different stages or the different locations that will be the ingested by host, that means the in our stomach. Okay, after ingestion, and then will be the small intestine. Okay, then large intestine, and that last will be the multiplicative stage, that is the invages or the mucous membrane, then moves to the other organs if it get a chance to get by means of get pass of the get by means of the blood flow. Okay, so what happens, you can see these mature cyst that will be multinucleated, that are the quadrinucleated in nature. Okay, after ingestion that is going to get by the flow into the small intestine. Okay, in that small intestine this excitation stage is going to active. Okay, and that particular mature cyst, which are multinucleated cyst, are going to mature into the trophozoite, that will be the multinucleated trophozoite, and that trophozoite will be quadrinucleated itself. After that, as soon as it reaches to the large intestine, okay, that trophozoite is going to convert into the mononucleated, that means the by after the binary fission it going to convert or going to give the four different daughter cells. Okay, and that daughter cells will be the in the trophozoite stage. After that, that particular stages or the invasion stage, that trophozoite um, may get a chance to locomote into the different organs. Okay, that will be the invasion stage, and incestation means that mature trophozoite stage will be directly mature and going to get by means of the feces, it will be um, thrown out by the host body. Okay, so we are going to stop here, and we will meet into the next part of this Entomoeba histolytica. We will cover their life cycle, its pathogenicity, as well as the diagnostic stages or the its control measures. Okay, thank you.